updated Google, like Google Meet. It's nice. All right. So we are gonna go ahead and go right into what's the story called? I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid. We are gonna skip a few things today because I decided we're going to, and we're only gonna do 2 sections, and then we have the test to take. So we should get through both of those today. So we're gonna start with I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid, and go ahead and get that open. I'll give you about a minute or so. Get it pulled up, please.
I'm gonna wear handcuffs this whole Google Meet.
Okay, good luck.
And they're actually the real handcuffs.
Don't get stuck in them.
I won't, because they don't have a key to come with them. So they're easy to take out.
Okay, I'll give you guys about 1 minute. Get logged in and open up I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid, please.
Are we taking the test today?
Yes, we will take the test after this. There should be time. Pulling up I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid. Getting it ready. Just let. Oh, we'll get there. I know. We're gonna let everybody else get it up too.
At the end of the lesson, are we gonna see the PowerPoint of all the pictures that you took?
I have not made that yet. So no, not yet. I was busy yesterday. We had a surprise meeting. I was gonna make it after school in that time that I have to stay, but we had a surprise meeting, so I didn't get to make it yet. So hopefully, at lunchtime, maybe I can make it really quick.
Miss Jones.
Yep.
It won't let me pull up the Savage Realize on my thing.
On your iPad?
Yeah.
Okay, just follow along and do what you can. Okay?
Okay.
And then maybe later you can pull it up on a laptop and try it there.
Okay, but my sister's gonna be using it most of the day.
That's fine. Maybe tonight if you have time, something like that. But if not, when you get back to school, we'll do it.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and listen to the poem one more time just before we get going. So go ahead and follow along with that. If you're still pulling it up, that's fine. But we're gonna kind of.
I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid
really loud.
by Alva Bruder relates her experiences growing up in San Francisco, California, as a self-described tomboy. About the author. Alma Luz Villanueva, born 1994, was raised in the Mission District of San Francisco by her maternal grandmother, a Yaqui Indian healer. Although Villanueva now writes in English, the inspiration for her works is rooted in the Spanish language and in the Yaqui prayers her grandmother used to sing every morning. I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid by Alma Luz Villanueva. I was a skinny tomboy kid who walked down the streets with my fists clenched into tight balls. I knew all the roofs and backyard fences. I liked traveling that way, sometimes not touching the sidewalks for blocks and blocks. It made me feel victorious somehow over the streets. I liked to fly from roof to roof, the gravel falling away beneath my feet. I liked the edge of almost not making it, and the freedom of riding my bike to the ocean and smelling it long before I could see it. And I traveled disguised as a boy, I thought, in an old army jacket, carrying my fishing tackle to the piers, and bumming bait, and a couple of Cokes, and catching crabs sometimes, and selling them to some Chinese guys. And I'd give the fish away. I didn't like fish. I just liked to fish. And I vowed to never grow up, to be a woman, and to be helpless like my mother. But then I didn't realize the kind of guts it often took for her to just keep standing where she was. I grew like a thin, stubborn weed, watering myself whatever way I could, believing in my own myth, transforming my reality and creating a legendary self. Every once in a while, late at night, in the deep darkness of my sleep, I wake with a tenseness in my arms, and I follow it from my elbow to my wrist, and realize my fists are tightly clenched, and the streets come grinning, and I forget who I'm protecting, and I coil up in a self-mothering fashion and tell myself it's okay.
All right. So there's our story again. Let's go ahead and get right into what we're going to do today. So we're going to start under making meaning. We did quite a bit of this yesterday. We did concept, vocab, first read, comprehension check, and research. As a reminder, the comprehension check is the one that I will grade. So please make sure you finish that one. If you didn't get to finish it yesterday, make sure you go back to finish it. You want to start off the quarter on the right foot, getting your work done. Today, we're going to actually go all the way to the bottom and do analyze, craft, and structure. That's where we're going to start. So you can go ahead and open up analyze, craft, and structure. We're going to talk about theme, the theme of this story today. Okay, so analyze, craft, and structure. Okay, the theme of a literary work is the insight or the message about life that it expresses. And then if you click on it, it gives you a little more information on what the theme is, but it's essentially the message that you get from your story. Yeah, the message. Sometimes the theme of a literary work is stated directly, so they'll directly say, this is what the theme is. But more often than not, it is only implied or it's hinted at, so you have to kind of figure out what the theme is yourself. When the theme is not stated directly, readers must use details in the text to draw their own conclusions. To determine an implied theme, group together details that seem connected. Then try to figure out what message the writer is expressing with those details. One possible theme of I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid is that being different can be difficult. The poet does not state this theme directly. Instead, she suggests the theme through the thoughts, feelings, and actions of the speaker. She also suggests the theme through the way that she organizes the lines of the poem to emphasize certain words or phrases. So in that paragraph, we're going to highlight what one of the possible themes was. It says right here, one possible theme of I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid is that being different can be difficult. So let's highlight that just because it gives you a possible theme. You might use it down in your questions at the bottom. Okay, so go ahead and highlight that one. All right. Okay, so these couple of questions are going to be pretty much on your own. We're going to talk about them, and I'm going to give you time to work on them. It does say to cite text evidence in your answers, so please try and cite some evidence, pull phrases and stuff from the text to support whatever answer you get. Number one here says, use the chart to list details from the poem that imply the possible theme, which is why we highlighted the theme, that being different can be difficult. Consider the details that relate to the speaker's thoughts and feelings and actions and appearance. So let's open up our chart here. There are 1, 2, 3 places for you to type here. It says use the chart to list details from the poem that imply the possible theme. So you're going to go back to the poem and find something that is about the speaker's thoughts and feelings that implies that it's hard to be different. Okay, so anything about her thoughts and feelings. Then you're going to go back and find one thing about her appearance that implies that being different can be difficult. And then find one thing about her actions. So the things that she does that tells you that being different can be difficult. Okay. So we got 3 questions on that one. Do you want me to give you time to do that before we move on to the next part? Just give you a little bit of time.
So we use the themes that we were just talking about.
Yeah, so you're going to use the theme that being different can be difficult. And you're going to have to go back through the poem and find 3 different phrases or sentences that tell you that being different can be difficult. So one about the thoughts and feelings of the speaker, one about the appearance, and one about her actions. Okay? Let's do about 4 or 5 minutes on this part. So reading through the poem and finding those 3 things to support that being different can be difficult. And we'll do about 2 more minutes and then we'll look at the next couple questions. So see if you can find those 3 details to support the theme. If you don't finish in that time, just make sure you go back to finish it.
You guys read between the lines. It's really a deep, it's kind of a deep poem. There's a lot of stuff going on there. There's resentment, there's anger. It's more than just a girl that dresses as a tomboy. And she's got, I think, some anger or some resentment towards mom. She walks around with her fist clenched all the time. She defies walking on the sidewalk in the street. And that's her little way of kind of like, I guess, winning or accomplishing something.
And about 1 more minute.
Wait, were we supposed to find a phrase? Because I just found like some sentences like of actions or what she said or what she.
No, that's fine too. Just whatever from the text that supports it, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Charlie. What she looks like. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and look at the next question. If you're still working on this part, that's fine. Keep going. Number 2 says, discuss the following questions and then share your thoughts. We're not going to do that. We're just going to answer the questions there. You'll write your own thoughts about it, so we don't need to share out. But there's 2 questions here. The first one, what does this poem suggest about the rules that govern how a girl or a boy should act? Okay, so what does it suggest about basically gender norms, right? What does it suggest about those? And then our second question, does the speaker challenge or break those rules? So the gender norms, does she break those rules? So those are your 2 questions there. I'm going to say answer the 2 questions in complete sentences. Okay, so make sure you answer both questions, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. So let's take about 5 minutes just to finish up, analyze, craft, and structure all together. Okay.
So the first question asks, did she break those rules? Yeah, like the yes or no part.
That's the second question. The first question is, what does the poem suggest about those rules?
Can we close this part when we're done?
Yeah, if you finish up craft and structure, you're all good for now.
So we skipped analyze the text.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Do about 3 more minutes on this part. So just do your best to finish up, analyze, craft, and structure. It's not up yet, and we're not done with the other one yet. We're gonna do one more section first. All right, about 1 more minute, and then we're gonna look at one more section. All right, so analyze, craft, and structure is another one that I will be grading. So if you haven't completed it, just make sure you go back and do that. You have the 3 phrases or pieces of text evidence you need to find for the chart. And then you have the 2 questions to answer for number 2. Make sure you finish up those ones. I'm going to close making meaning in general. We don't need making meaning anymore. We're going to look at language development now. Typically, we've been doing the concept, vocab, verb study, word network, and then instead of author style, it usually says conventions. But this one's just a little bit different, and we're going to look at that author style. So we're going to skip concept, vocabulary, word study, and word network for today. And we're just going to talk about author style. Talk about some figurative language too. Okay? So go ahead and open up author style. I'm going to start talking about figurative language while you do that. So, figurative language. Language that is not meant to be taken literally is called figurative language. So, when you click on it, it does give you more information on it. It's writing or when someone is talking that's not meant to be taken literally. You don't take it exactly as they mean it. The types of figurative language are known as figures of speech. Common figures of speech or figurative language are going to be metaphors, personifications, similes, and usually writers just use this to like liven up their writing so that it's not like kind of boring to read. It gives you some metaphors and it just makes it more fun to read. More imaginative, makes it more vivid. This poem uses a lot of figurative language, which is why we're going to look at it. Okay, so the chart below has 3 types of figurative language that we're going to talk about really quick. So I'm going to open up this chart and we're going to talk about simile, metaphor, and personification. The first one is simile is going to compare 2 things using like or as. It must have the words like or as. So the example there is he was like a storm roaring through the house. So they're comparing whoever he is to a storm, and they use like or as. Okay, so in this case, they use the word like to compare it. A metaphor also compares 2 things, but it does not use the words like or as. They just say it as it is. So this one, he was a storm roaring through the house. So instead of saying he was like a storm, they just say he was a storm. That's a metaphor. They just took out the like or as. And then finally, we have personification. And this gives human qualities to non-human things. So our example here is the ocean waves kiss to the shores of the sandy beach. Are the waves actually kissing the shore? Nope.
No, it just makes it sound better.
Yeah, it's just that the waves are coming up on shore and they're leaving, right? But when they say the waves kissed it, it kind of gives you more of a vivid image of what is happening, right? So personification is going to give human qualities to non-human things. You could say something like, the pencil sharpener ate my pencil, right? And if you think about it like that, what happened to the pencil? The pencil sharpener ate my pencil.
Yeah, it killed it.
Yeah, it like sharpened and sharpened and sharpened until it's like basically nothing, right? So those are going to be the 3 types of figurative language we're going to talk about today. We're going to do the read it part. We're going to start there, and I think we're only going to do the read it. I don't think we need to do the write it. So look at the read it part. It says reread lines 64 through 87 of I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid. In the middle column of the chart, identify 1 simile and 1 use of personification. In the right-hand column, write in the words of the literal meaning of each example you found. Yes, Charlie? We're under author's style. So language development, and then the bottom one is author style. Okay? So I'm going to scroll down to lines 64 through 87. I'm going to read them to you. You guys need to be looking for 1 simile. We're just going to highlight it. And 1 personification. So no metaphor, just simile and personification. Keep in mind that the simile is going to use the words like or as, and a personification is going to give human characteristics to something that's not human. And then you'll fill it out in the chart. So the chart has a place to write the simile that you hear and a place to write the personification. And then you guys are just going to write what they mean. Okay, so we're just going to fill out this chart and then we'll take the test. So line 64 through 87, be listening and see if you can write it down as I go, or you can just follow along. But it says, I grew like a thin, stubborn weed, watering myself whatever way I could, believing in my own myth, transforming my reality and creating a legendary self. Every once in a while, late at night, in the deep darkness of my sleep, I wake with a tenseness in my arms, and I follow it from my elbow to my wrist. And I realize my fists are tightly clenched and the streets come grinning, and I forget who I'm protecting, and I coil up in a self-mothering fashion and tell myself it's okay. So there is exactly 1 simile and there's exactly 1 metaphor in those lines. So you got to find those 2 things. So our simile is going to use the words like or as, and our personification is going to give something that's not human characteristics. And you're going to write your examples in the text. For example, why is it so light? The example from the text goes here, and in the meaning box you say, what does the phrase even mean? So tell me what they mean. So your goal is to complete this chart. Oops. Okay, so find the simile, find the personification, tell me what they mean. And we'll take about 4 minutes to do this one. Personification is when something that's not human is given human-like qualities. There's no extra credit in this type of grading, so you can if you want to, but it's not going to be a extra credit, sorry.
What does personification mean?
So personification is when something that's not human, so like a book or something like that, and you give it human-like qualities. So, like the pencil sharpener, right? The pencil sharpener ate my pencil. Pencil sharpeners don't actually eat things, so I gave it a human quality. Oh, my stuff went away. Right. Take about 2 more minutes. Not yet, because you're going to take the test, you don't want to be able to see the story. So.
I kind of don't get what you mean by the personification part. Like, I get the simile part, I just don't get the personification part.
Personification is a hard one. So you need to kind of look for, like, it's hard to describe too. Like, look for something that a human would do, but there's no humans in the story, really. Like, look for something that you would think, like, okay, I could see that a person doing that, but it's not talking about a person. It's talking about something else, something that's not human. Under meaning, you tell me what the figurative language means. So what does the simile mean that you found? What does the
Can it be like the same thing twice that you put for the simile part too?
The simile and the personification are going to be different things.
Okay.
If it helps, the personification is somewhere between lines 80 and 87.
Okay.
Narrow it down a little bit. Okay, we'll do about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to show you guys the test and stuff. All right. Whether or not you're done with this, go ahead and take a break. We'll take the test, and then you can come back to it. So make sure you come back to finish the author's style if you have not finished it. No, we're not doing the write it part. Right. Once you finish the chart, you're done with that part. Don't turn it in just yet. Wait until after you take the test and you finish up the sections. The test did post to Google Classroom, so if you go to Google Classroom, it's called I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid test. It's just like all the other ones. There's 22 questions on it. You can take your time. But that's what I'd like you to go work on. It does have you, at some points it wants you to compare this story, I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid, to Bad Boy, the one we read before break. And I opened that assignment back up. So if you're on Savvis and you're looking at your list of assignments, you should be able to see Bad Boy now again. Just in case you need to go back and reread or look at it again to remind yourself what that one was about, it's there for you. So you'll have the test you need to be taking, and you can use both stories, I Was a Skinny Tomboy Kid and Bad Boy, to help you out on the test. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on what you need to be doing?
It doesn't show in the assignments.
It's not there?
No.
Maybe try reloading the page. Okay, but those of you online, I would like you to stay on here until either 9 o'clock comes or you finish the test for the story.
It's
Okay.
still there, and I reloaded Savvis and Google Classroom.
Okay. I am unsure why that would be. I really don't know why that would be, Dallin. If anything, there's only 2 questions about it, and it's mainly asking about the theme of each story. So what the overall theme of the stories were about. So do your best on those 2 questions, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, like I said, those of you online, go ahead and stay here while you take the test, please. Those of you here in person, start taking the test, please. And let me know if you guys have any questions.